Hi, I'm Luis Alonso. Everybody calls me Louis. I'm one of those guys that you consider a veteran game developer with 20 plus years. And I worked on Mass Effect 3, Dead Space 2, Need for Speed Nitro, and a whole bunch of other games. A lot of games for kids as well. So no one wants to hear about that, but I've worked on Cinderella and Bratz and Winx.
Lots of
Hannah
stuff,
Montana.
man.
Yeah.
And you're here showing Spaceboat. Talk about what this game's all about.
So Spaceboat, if I could put it in a nutshell, it's basically Mass Effect with Muppets in space, where you play as a cat in a mech suit that is a Muppet itself. So,
where did the idea for this game come from?
Well, the original concept for this universe and these characters came from about 30 years ago when I developed some of these ideas. So it's been lingering for a long time, and I spent quite a few years in game development to gain the skills necessary to bring it together. And now I'm just kind of filling in the gaps of what I wanted to see as a kid. So the thing is, it's also based on our cat. So the main character is our cat Domino, and she's the inspector for the RCNP. So it's like the Royal Narwhal Police. And what they do is she's charged with tracking down a shape-shifting jewel thief that stole something that started an intergalactic conflict. And you basically have to find them, and you wear this suit to be one of these, like, I can't say Muppets, actually, because Disney owns that.
Muppets.
Well, we call them Carpetians. They're carpet people, or carpet-based life forms.
We're carpet fans.
Yeah, Carpetians. So we have a lot of jokes related to carpet and carpet cleaner and stuff like that in there.
So talk about the gameplay here. You described it as a narrative-driven adventure.
Yeah, I wanted to make it so it's not violent and it's good for the family and it's colorful and it's humorous. So I figured it would be a good idea to bring back the whole narrative game, like reinvent the narrative game a little bit. Even point and click back in its day was a reinvention of narrative games that you would type, right? So this is kind of like another step in that evolution, hopefully. So the idea here is you go around and you talk to people and you find things or you find clues, and that opens up dialogues. And as long as you keep doing that, you can solve and find maybe clues as to where this shapeshifter is. And in the first section of the demo, we have you walking around in that suit, but then eventually you get out of the suit, and then you're the cat doing a little bit of platforming. So it's a little bit, varied, and you can do stuff. And then once you've done through that, you discover this underground racing community, and you join a race. The racing community is called the Final Boarding Call community, or racing. So basically what happened is a lot of rich people decided to make a game out of waiting until the last second to board their plane to turn it into a race. And then it became popular, and they have now sponsors and everything for official racing. And yeah,
You created this whole universe.
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff that's been kind of floating in my head for a while.
So how big is your team?
As far as game development goes, you're looking at them for the most part, like maybe 95% of the game. Yeah, like I still have a lot of support from my wife Michelle, who does she's written the lyrics of the main song. I was able to hire Sam Shanley as well to do the actual music for the Spaceboat, and I also had Lauren Clare that we hired for her voice. So she voices actually the main character, and other than that, it's pretty much I fill in the gaps until now. Once we have some money and we can actually get this game going, I'll probably hire people to replace some of the stuff that I did. So
you're looking for a publisher?
Yeah, we've been looking for a publisher for a while now. It hasn't been an easy road with publishers, but yeah.
How long has this game been in development for? You said you had ideas 30 years ago.
Yeah, I didn't start really working on the game itself until about 3 years ago, I would say. It's been on and off. So yeah, I would say about 2.5 years clean where I've been working on it now, and hopefully I can keep doing that. Even if I have to go solo.
So talk about, you mentioned a few games you drew inspiration from, obviously the point-click adventure games. What other games did you pull from that inspired your design and mechanics?
So for example, if you play Space Quest, the original one, in Space Quest, you have a moment where you're on this kind of like a speeder and you have to go left and right to avoid the rocks. And I always thought those kind of little mini moments in those games were amazing. And so in this game, I decided, I'm going to put a little racer too. You can get through the sewers type of thing. And then I was like, you know what? I've got that whole thing with the final boarding call. Maybe I could turn it into something bigger. So I made a bigger map for that. There's still another one that's coming That's from another idea that I had, which was kind of like American Gladiators, but in space. So that'll be coming hopefully at some point.
A lot of ideas and games you're making.
Yeah, but it's all integrated in a way that it's narrative. So, for example, the racing, if you think about it, really, I just put a little timer, and the player thinks it's a race, but there's like these pizza delivery rats that get knocked down and their pizzas get stolen in the middle of the race because they were delivering pizza and racing at the same time, which is a bad idea. And the rats, they go down and they need help. And while you're in the race, you can help them. They're asking for help. So it's actually a narrative game still, even in the race. So you can decide if you want to help them or not and take the time to help them. But a lot of people think it's a race, so I gotta just, forget it, I'm passing. So so I'm trying to make it so that it's, at the end, it's always a narrative game at every step.
We do see a lot of indie games do like road lights, short little game loops of like death and reoccurrence, but like narrative games what are some of the challenges in making a narrative game? Because I feel that game loop is much more handcrafted and much longer.
Yeah, there's one of the main problems, like even when I was one of the members of the Mass Effect 3 team, there was the concept of, let's say you have 3 choices and you have 3 tracks. Well, you're making content for 3 different things. And at the end of the day, the user only gets to see 1/3 of the work that you did. Right? Unless they play it again or reload or something like that. So in this case, what I wanted to do was, I still want it so there's still choice and it matters. So for example, there's a character that's a bit of a jerk. You can eject him from his seat at one point. You have the choice to do it or not. And it didn't make for it to dilute it into 3 tracks. It made it so that you have a choice. You can actually eject him from his seat or not. And that later has impact on the game. Even in the demo, there's already an impact where you'll find out if he's been hurt or not, type of thing. And you start to feel bad, even if he's a bit of a jerk.
So talk about the writing in your game. Like humor is something we're seeing more and more games, but we didn't used to. Like what's the challenge for making something funny?
Well, the first part is publishers hate it. So that's the first step, yeah. So basically, I made this little bingo card, which has all the answers I've gotten from publishers in the last 2 years, and we condensed them into the bingo card. And humor is definitely one of them in there. So every once in a while, there's one of them that's like, oh, it's funny, forget it. We don't want anything to do with it. But humor, at the end of the day, I think in a way, I'm not aiming for the big laughs. I'm just trying to make a lighthearted story at the end of the day where even kids can enjoy, right? And have funny characters that have actually meaningful things to say. And it doesn't matter if the kids don't get it, the adults will get that layer. It's kind of like
SpongeBob. SpongeBob is not adult humor in that.
100%. So at one point we have this whale, and he's a bit of a jerk, and he's in a premium lane, and there's an actual paywall that blocks you from going to see him. Right? And most of us that know about what a whale is will get a little chuckle, but then a kid's going to be like, oh man, this whale's a real jerk, right? So it works both ways. It's still okay.
My last question for you is, where can people go to find more information about Spaceboat?
Okay, sorry Nintendo, but it's on everything except Nintendo. Pretty much. It's on Steam, it's on Xbox One, Xbox Series S and X, it's on PlayStation 4, and it's on PlayStation 5.
And if someone likes this, how do they get a hold of you? You have a website, Discord, Facebook?
You can go to spaceboat.ca, and from there you can pretty much go to anything that we have. Every link is from that point on available.